I'm happy to share with you some information on that part of the Baltic Sea strategy that covers research and innovation. And so this is all about how we could strengthen the innovative capacity and competitiveness within the Baltic Sea region. Let's see here. This one. How do I do? Huh? Okay. Okay. So, as it's already been described several times this morning, there are 4 pillars of a strategy, and one is about prosperity and how we could promote economic growth. And to the strategy, there is an action plan with 15 priority areas, and one of the priority areas is regarding innovation and research. And this area is coordinated by Sweden and Poland together, and I'm one of the coordinators for this area. The priority area, research and innovation, has today these 5 different parts. And of course, this is a limited part of what could be achieved regarding innovation and research within the whole Baltic Sea area. But it's important to start up, and these are selected as strategic focuses for cooperation and innovation in the Baltic Sea. So this should be seen as strategic ambitions in different fields. And I will primarily talk about number 1 with the name BSR STARS, that has a focus on SME networks, transnational cluster cooperation, and cooperation between strong research and innovation milieus. This flagship has really taken a program-oriented approach, as Mr. Reid before lunch requested was something we should have as an ambition. And this is done in number 1. I will also say a few words about number 4, that is a similar flagship on the health area, and I will talk about number 2, that will address the funding possibilities. I take that very shortly, as there is a later session this afternoon which will focus on funding explicitly. I will not talk about the last one. The last one on the science links, that is a flagship that is starting up right now. So it's in a very early phase, but I think that will be a really strategic and important field for cooperation in the Baltic Sea. And it's not only of using labs and equipment, it's about how we could look upon a research infrastructure, looking at both research facilities, but also the strong research groups, and see how the strong research group can combine forces and cooperate in a new strategic way in the whole Baltic Sea area. So that could be, in the long run, a very important strategic issue. Number 5. Well, this is the area where the Baltic Sea region covers. It's the 8 EU countries, and it's also Norway and Iceland. So it's 10 countries working together in research and innovation here. Let's just look upon the trade flows first. It's very clear that the trading between the Baltic Sea countries is very high. Which shows the percentage of export from Sweden to the neighboring countries around the Baltic Sea, and it's more than 43% of export and more than 55% of import to Sweden comes from a neighboring country. So that means that the economic cooperation in terms of trade is very, very large in the area. If you go to the question why innovation and research and transnational cooperation is important, we also know from many studies that A country that have neighbors that grow, have economic growth, we grow itself. So if we can cooperate on innovation in this area between neighboring countries, this will support economic growth in all the countries around the Baltic Sea. So that's one important thing. The second thing is that many SMEs, we know that SMEs are very important for jobs, etc., but many SMEs are facing the local market. It's a big step to go to the global international market. If SMEs could see the whole Baltic Sea region as a home market, that would be a very important step for a large number of SMEs in the Baltic Sea, in every country. So I think this cooperation for the SMEs are extremely important. We also know that most countries and regions around the Baltic Sea, when they are quite small, limited resources. When we go to China, India, California, etc., and present what we have, most individual countries and regions are small. If we could go there and combine the facilities and the resources in the whole region with 100 million people, a number of skilled companies, both large companies, small companies, a number of good universities, research, a number of good clusters. And we had a good cooperation between those on a strategic way in the region. That would give that this region would be much more attractive when it tried to get cooperation with the best parts of the world. So instead of having every single country to try to be itself on the global market to find partners or compete, if we could have a strategic cooperation between different actors in this region, we could have a quite different possibility to get the type of cooperation with the best actors around the world that we want to achieve. In fact, this slide, I've borrowed, I got this slide from the Finnish Ministry for Economic Development. They use this slide as a part of how they describe the international strategy on innovation, to use the Baltic Sea region as a platform for international competitiveness. Now, the first flagship in this area, BSR STARS, is exactly approaching has this vision and approaching this ambition. So the purpose of BSR STAR is to create a number of world-leading innovation hubs in the Baltic Sea region by linking strong research and innovation milieus, by linking strong companies, by linking good performance clusters and SME networks together and working together. That is the ambition for BSR STARS. It has 3 basic blocks within this program. It has a program approach. It has 3 basic blocks. One is on SMEs, both to support and promote that SMEs will be part of networks. We know that SMEs that are part of networks grow faster, so they can be part of global, local networks, but also be part of networks around the Baltic Sea. And that these networks can connect to clusters, and this can be business partnership, and it can be networks that also support to connect the SMEs to the availability of research and development competence. So this part is an important part for SMEs to participate in. Second one is on clusters and transnational cluster cooperation, and the third one on what we call strong research and innovation milieus to cooperate. However, besides these basic blocks in this program, it takes a user-driven approach, approaching some of what the European Union called the grand societal challenges. That is, try to look upon things like the climate, like the energy area, like the health and elderly people, transport issue, etc. We know that these areas in the global society is very important and will lead to a number of business opportunities during the years to come. And the idea of this program is to from these grand challenges, have a demand-driven approach and to find the strategic cooperation and use the competences and resources in the Baltic Sea area in an effective way so we can be competitive in specific niches in the grand challenge area where we think that this region has a strong conditions to be competitive. And the 4 priority area, this is not exclusively, but this is 4 themes that has got a priority in BSR STARS. It's about clean tech and future energy, well-being and health, future transport, and the ICT-based services. All these 4 are grand challenges which will have large market potential in the future. This program, BSR STARS, and this is the important part of it, it has formed a governance structure with a high-level group. Often in this high-level group, we would like to have one person from the ministry responsible for innovation and one person from the innovation agency. And so it will be, so this is an ambition. Many countries have, someone has only one person, but still this is has already become a platform for strategic issues on transnational cooperation in the Baltic Sea region. So I think this governance structure with this high-level group for this program is a very interesting base for the future development and strengthening of cooperation on innovation in the Baltic Sea region. With BSR STARS, the first funding was got from the Baltic Sea program in a project called Stardust, and this has now started up. And that this first funding has made it possible to start 5 projects. And this is the 5 projects that now are starting up. And all these 5 projects contain cooperation between these different actors in the different countries around the Baltic Sea. One is on clean water, second on active for life, elderly people's need for new services. Marchain is on transportation, that's led by Lithuania. Mobile Vikings is on ICT services. And comfort of living is more how to create the future homes for people. Very many SMEs are participating in the 5th one here. So these 5 projects are now up and started and are running now. The Latvian participants in these 5 projects are these. And we will hear one of the presentation later this session. We'll talk about, will be the Latvia Information Technology Cluster that will describe how they cooperate and why they cooperate in this project. I will also say that I think it's something that we would like to, is that more Latvian clusters, researchers, companies would connect to BSR STARS and be part of that and participate to develop this. So we invite the ministries and different organizations to really be on and contribute to the development of BSR STARS. So more organizations will do practical and have things really done. Not only planning, strategy, but also have things really done. A second project in BSR STARS now starting up. We hope, but we hope to get the funding decision. That is a project called LINE, and that is focus SMEs and focus how we can support networks, SME to create new networks and to develop networks. So this is a new project also within BSR STARS that we will hope to get the funding decision quite soon. I would like to also say that we have heard this morning about the European Union 2020 strategy. We have heard about the Innovation Union principles, and it's very clear that the BSR stars already now work according to these basic principles. We try to apply in that program already now the principles of the European Union 2020. So it's addressing challenges, it's on smart specialization. And I was also saying regarding smart specialization that the word smart is very important in that concept, because it's not only to focus everyone who works on ICT to work together, but to have a smart combination of ICT competence with life science competence or with packaging competence on different areas, to have a smart new combination of different competences which can make our Baltic Sea region competitive in new fields. Okay, I think the time will not make big. So this is flagship number 474 that is on the health area. I will not go through that. I will say a few words about the funding. This flagship is led by Region Skåne. It has the purpose to look upon new financial instruments that will promote transnational, transregional innovation and research. And of course, this is based on the experiences that we have so far of funding the flagships in the strategy. We know that it's no special earmarked funding to the strategy flagships. They should be funded by the existing programs. And we have seen from real experiences that this is an obstacle. It takes time. You have to, for each project, get a number of funding decisions from a number of funding bodies to get each of the project funded. Those transnational programs like Baltic Sea program, Central Baltic program, they have too limited budgets. And if you use the national budgets from each participant country, you need a number of funding decisions for each project, and that is quite difficult and time-consuming way of getting a project started. So you need to find ways, and some of the principles that are being discussed in this flagship about funding is that some recommendation, and this is a recommendation to each country, each region, to the Commission, etc., that it's important that every program, structural fund program, national program, regional programs, have an international strategy in each program. So each program will discuss how it can have an international cooperation in each program. Because it's not likely that every region, every nation have all the competence needed for achieving a specific goal. And the BSR platform is a natural part of an international strategy. So we recommend that each program develop an international strategy in formulation each program. We support the idea of alignment of funding. The alignment of funding will be discussed in the next session. It's about that similar priorities on the regional, national, and macro and European level. So it's similar priorities. So it will be easier to fund specific areas where it has priority on all levels, multi-governance. And this calls that it must be a dialogue between the different, let me say so, often, if you look at a governmental administration in each country, there are often separate parts of the governmental administration that is responsible for innovation, another part is responsible for the structural funds, and a third part is responsible for the Baltic Sea strategy. And it's very important that these three parts of the governmental administration have a close dialogue and cooperate. So it will be a common view between those different parts of the government administration. And this is important to improve the possibilities of funding for the next 6-year period. This is the case in Sweden, and we work on this. I would be surprised if it is also the case in most other countries. Probably also an important issue for Latvia to really look upon how the different people responsible for this different part work together and have a close dialogue, a common view on priorities.
Could you wrap up, please?
Yeah. I have 4 final messages. I think as I've used my time already, you have it in the handouts, so please leave the key messages. These key messages is formulated as a position paper in this area, and it gives recommendation that could be helpful for the next 6-year period of both the Baltic Sea strategy and how it could be funded in the next for 2014 to 2020. So please read those conclusions in your handouts. Thank you very much.